Hello, this is the video number 8 of our forex transactions.
And the first transaction was between pound and euro. The central notice about this transaction was the value of pound.
The second transaction was dollar yen, and the principal topics of this transaction is the Asian economy and the Japanese exporters.
The third transaction was between euro and dollar, and the central notice was about the German debt.
And the last transaction was dollar and Canadian dollar, and the principal notice and or topics of this transaction was the oil prices and the inflation in Canada.
The first transaction was between pound and euro and was based in banks to miss out on special favors in May. Is Brexit plans obtaining to Bloomberg. This week, the tendency of pound was down, and this notice organized the idea. First, occurred the speculation in Great Britain about immigration control, about safeguarding of the access to the single market. The second was other factor was the preoccupation in London because this had a financial district, and this can be affect to the decision of May. She is the present Prime Minister. The third idea was other notice was about on recommendation and JP Morgan Chase and Company of HSBC Holdings PLC that was based in the immediate buy shares because the pound was down and the England Bank took incentives.
What happened in this transaction is that we sell in the moment that the euro was the highest. It was a short. And this had a positive result because, like this notice indicate, the situation of the United Kingdom respect the benefits of the European Union was bad. But this situation represents bad effects for the European Union because for them it's necessary maintaining the safeguarding respect to the people in the free circulation. For those, the tendency of the graphic was down respect to euro. Well, the second transaction of the week was dollar yen. And for this transaction, we used two notices. The first one is exporters boost Japanese shares as yen weakness of unfair rate bets. And the second one was Asian stocks advance as Japanese shares climbed in weaker yen. And the first notice talked about the Japanese stocks rose boosted by exporters as the yen hated for the longest losing streak against the dollar since August after U.S. factory data that beat estimates add to expectations for a Federal Reserve rate hike. The yen fell for a 6-day, weakening 0.6% to 102.25 after a report showing in American manufacturing expanded in September. Fueling confidence in a recovery that is the key of the determining the Fed's rate path.
The second notice was about Asian stock growth, with Japanese shares rallying as the yen weakened after they showed expression in United States marketing was their optimism over health of the world's largest economy. Japan's topic index rose 0.7% as the yen dropped for a 6-day against the dollar, declining 0.8% to 102.44. The Fed will raise interest rates in December, climbed to 61% on Monday, from 51% a week earlier, as a new orders in production expanded last month, indicating gradual improvement across Africa, Americas, manufacturing landscape.
So, according to this information, the yen is still losing competitiveness against the dollar, what indicates that the most convenient transaction to make is a short. However, at the moment of this transaction, the yen started to increase, having a period of constant fluctuation, and as a consequence of this fluctuation, we have losses.
The transaction was between euro and dollar and was based in two layers articles. Yield gap between United States German debt is with the signs 2006 chart. And the other article was, is the Fed looking at the broad inflation target? These articles spoke about debt, inflation, and interest rate and was obtained to Bloomberg.
The most important was the recuperation of service sector in the United States, and the same article say 2 years Treasury yields touch about 0.85% on Wednesday, the highest since June, while their German counterparts yield about minus 0.68%.
We decided make a short because we thought that the market reaction to the down because German debt affect to the rest of Eurozone and the dollar to value respect that the sector that have expansion that the consumer continues to put the economy and their bad and they expanded aggressively and the result was very positive.
The last transaction of the week was dollar and Canadian dollar, and the notice we used to make this transaction was uncertainties like continuing to weigh on Canada, Bank of Canada. So inflation risk in Canada remain tilted to the downside as the economy takes time to adjust to the oil price shock and awaits a boost from fiscal stimulus and the U.S. economy recovery, as Senior Bank of Canada officials say on Thursday. So, pointing to material slack in the economy and continued uncertainty about businesses that has hampered investment.
Wilkins said the ban is providing monetary stimulus in order to meet this inflation target. The adjustments are clearly underway, but it will take time before the economy has fully adjusted the whole price shock, the United States economy strengthened, and the effect of fiscal stimulus take hold. Also to note that the Mexico currency has appreciated more than the Canadian dollar, but say recent weakening in Canada currency is expected to support export, even though its influence on the ground rate has faded to most part.
So according to this article, the Canadian dollar is in decrease because of the inflation risk and the crisis in the oil prices. For this reason, we decide to make a short, obtaining gains with this transaction.